here's the other end of that cave, which there is kind of a real cave back here. It's pretty black, huh? Let me get out of this. I'm not gonna fill all that in. Let me just close that there. Let me try and keep track of what I'm doing. So Tim Schafer, the guy in charge of Double Fine, at one point he talked about selling out to Microsoft. I say that half jokingly. I mean, he did sell his company to Microsoft. He didn't sell out, but he sold. And he talked about like Microsoft guys asking him like, if you had more money, what would you do with it? And he just say like he'd make a better game. And presumably Microsoft did give him more money, because boy, he took his time about it. I mean, Double Fine like spent quite a lot of time making this game. Protracted development. And when released, on release, the game is like much better polished than most other games on release. So they obviously had like some sort of funding arrangement where they had more money than other studios would have had. You know. So it's one of these like wish games. Like if you had like, if you give a game developer a genie in a bottle, they could wish for anything. They would wish for something like this. So it's a little bit indulgent, I guess. I'm not sure like if the economics really works out. But you know, screw economics. Let's just make good games, am I right? Let me fill that in. If you could have infinite money, what kind of game would you make? It's like that kind of deal. What is happening here? And why does it happen like this? Is that right? Is this right? This is not right, is it? Let me do that. This is down there, not that much. I'm not sure what's going on here. You know what? Let's just do that. And that. It's kind of strange, but... Alright, how does this go? Brick? brick or is that stone? That's stone, right? This is okay down here. And that's built. Let me just check the top again. Awkward. Maybe not. Maybe not those. And maybe like that. And maybe like that. Alright. Still a little bit strange. But it will do. Okay, that's good, that's good. All that is good. As far as I can tell, all that is good. Alright, moving on. So there's gonna be like a little bridge paths here. They're not huge bridges, but it does step over the water a little bit. Probably like a series of vaults. Series of small brick vaults. Refill that. I mean, again, like thinking about funding games and all that. Steam presumably makes a lot of money. And what does Valve do with that money? They do very little. It seems like they do very little. And like, every decade or so they make one game. Aren't they making fewer games now? Oh, I guess they make Dota. Is Dota self-funding or is it subsidized by Steam? It's self-funding, right? Oh, I guess they made Artifact, didn't work out. They made Half-Life Alyx. Alright, they don't make very many games. But maybe that's just how expensive games are to make. Especially if you like Valve. How is this? They're putting some effort into Proton, gaming on Linux. Yeah. And then there's the Steam Deck. Have you seen the Steam Deck thing? It's like a fat switch. I just realized how funny that is. Steam Deck. It's a fat switch. It's like a switch, but thicker. Yeah, and they do stuff, and in a way they do. I mean, I don't want to say they don't do anything. They do experimental things, and you know, rather frequently the things that they try don't work out. Right, like and they can afford to have their stuff not work out because they're subsidized by Steam. So for example, Half-Life Alyx, by all accounts, it's a great game, but it's a VR only game and not many people have VR. So do they make money from Half-Life Alyx? I think they lose money on Half-Life Alyx just because not enough people have VR. So the market is not big enough to really sustain a game of that quality. I think this is my I'm guessing. I don't have the numbers on me, but it seems like are there numbers on how many copies of Half-Life Alyx has been sold? Steam used to have those numbers, but they don't publish them anymore, I don't think. Anyway, I'm guessing that Half-Life Alyx doesn't actually make money, despite what a great game it is. And other factors didn't do anything. What was Artifact? Was it like a card game? A card game based on Dota? Yeah, it didn't work out. So they can afford to like lose money on games because they're not relying on it for profit. So they can afford to do some experimental stuff, especially their hardware. They've got like VR, and then now they have the Steam Deck. Didn't they have like a Steam Box? Or whatever it's called? They tried to make a console, again that didn't really work out. By not working out I mean like it didn't make money. Not that it didn't work, I think I'm sure it worked. But I don't think it made money. Anyway, I'm talking about this because like back to the idea of like you ask a bunch of developers, a bunch of engineers and game developers, alright, if you have infinite money, what would you do with it? And you know, Valve does that sort of thing. Which, you know, I wonder, like, how much money do they lose on stuff like this, on projects like this? Boy, I wish I had a affordable VR option so I can play Half-Life Alyx, am I right? And Steam, like Valve's VR is the most expensive option, isn't it? It's like $1,000 just for the VR. Well, maybe, you know, somebody tell Gabe that just because he has infinite money doesn't mean that I have infinite money. He can afford to make this stuff. I can't afford to buy this stuff. And then this bit. Proton gaming on Linux. Is that work? I don't know anything about that, however. Is it functional? Can you use it yet, or is it still in development? Hamza says, yep, it's easy to use and continually updated. Oh, cool. Alright, well let me stick that into Google. ProtonDB. Gaming reports for Linux using Proton and Steam. Valve software Proton, competitive tool for Steam. Proton software. Alright, I'll look at it later, not now, of course. How it says you basically choose an option in the drop-down menu in Steam and you're good to go. And it works in Linux? Something works in Linux? No, I don't mean it that way. I mean like, but like, you know, there are a lot of varieties of Linux. What do they do? Do they like focus on like the most popular distributions or like, or what? Alright, so there's gonna be like a... Well, how do I do this? I guess we just vault over... Well, maybe... Yeah, we just vault over this. One thing at a time. I mean, I do appreciate that what Valve basically is doing is that they're doing the kind of research and development that other companies can't afford. Right, I do appreciate that. Instead of, for example, just trying to make more and more and more money and then paying out to shareholders, they're actually putting it into research and development. However, as far as I know, most, if not all, of the main distros are good. Sometimes you need some other things installed beforehand. Skyrim modding, for example, the vanilla game works fine, but mods require some tweaking. Okay, and they can get complex with that game. Well, but that's... I don't blame Valve for that, however. I blame Skyrim. I blame Todd. I mean, you know, Skyrim is Skyrim. It's a Bethesda game. Todd Howard, you said it just works, it doesn't just work. Todd Howard! How is this not Todd's fault, it's the mod authors? I think Todd has some responsibility. Well, again, like, the thing is, Bethesda games, like Linux, I am surprised that they work at all, so... I mean, if they run at all, it's already a plus. What's gonna happen here? Let me just close this up, because it's easier. How is this? No, a lot of mods are based on Windows functionality. Oh, wait, really? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. The mods? You know, Skyrim modding is, man, I stopped paying attention for a little while. And it's completely out of control. Wait, it's basically like a separate program? It's not even in the game anymore, it's using stuff outside the game? Wow, alright. Is that even modding, or is that something else now? Has it evolved into something else?